Hey everyone. So, recap of Ruby Retreat. That's what we're here for. I'm so glad that everyone is here and my internet is unstable. What else is new? That always happens. So, a couple of things of what happened and what is about to happen. A couple things I want to touch base on, and just like I just said to these ladies, I'm really excited about coming back today and just it's fresh in my brain, and I want to relay it in the way that we had things happen because it's so much easier to share it that way. So when you get to Ruby, you get added to the Rock and Rubies group. It's like from Kristen's team down. And all those Rubies were invited to come to Tennessee for a Ruby retreat. And guys, it was phenomenal. I kept thinking of how tremendous the amount of organization and brain power it would have taken to put something like this together, because there was about 90 of us, and there was quite a few that didn't make it. I think altogether there could have been probably almost 200, but it was incredible the amount of work that the Diamonds invested into the Rubies and above, like for us, and they really encouraged us to go and share it because it was that good. So we got there Thursday. We had Friday, we had the Diamond panel, a little bit of a fashion show, which was kind of fun. They did a little bit of a recap on just sharing ideas of, helping women. Often when you're stay-at-home mom, or when you're in a certain stage of life, you're like, what do I wear to things like this? It's like hard to put together, or you're like feeling like, well, I'm not sure what to do. So we did a little bit of everything. We did fun things. We did like a Zoom outfit where we're just dressed up from the neck up. I'm not dressed up today, but maybe I should have taken lessons. And then it was so funny because Rachel Anderson, and if you're going to see the pictures, came on stage and she was dressed up with a nice scarf and a pretty shirt and a blazer, and then she ripped off her shirt and she had leggings with flowers and socks that had like long chicken legs underneath, so it didn't matter what she was wearing in the bottom. It was just fun. Outfits for an event that we had, like how to like basically take a jeans and t-shirt and dress it up when you're going out for a coffee date, meeting people, things like that. So just fun stuff. And then we had an opportunity in the Ruby and above group to ask questions of what we would ask the Diamonds and what they would have done in growing their Plexus business. So that was really interesting. I took a bunch of notes on my phone, just because the answers were so spot on. They were just so filling. But one thing I want to cover before I go into that, I think was my biggest thing, was just, again, we keep saying that Plexus is different. And then sometimes I get the question of, what do you say when we say Plexus is different? Why is Plexus different? And I think, going to events, meeting all the sidelines, getting the teams together, connecting, building those relationships, it's just hearts coming together with, we have this in common. We have this in common of where we're working together to better lives of others, right? And again, it came to me of like the community and the culture of what Plexus brings together is so different from other businesses. Even when, let's say, you're working for a company that has really good like employee benefits and things like that, and you get together randomly, like Christmas dinner or Christmas party or maybe a summer barbecue or something, that is different than this. That is so very different than this. You're still all just employees. Here, like, it's literally become the community and the culture of what we bring together. Like, they care so much for each other, and you can invest in each other. It doesn't matter if it's sideline, downline, upline, whoever they are. We have something. I find it hard to put into words because we have something that someone can always offer someone else help and hope again. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I came away from again, was never ever think that you don't have anything to offer. It doesn't matter what rank you are. It doesn't matter who you are. You always have something to offer someone else. Like, that is a huge takeaway of mine. I just sat down and I thought of my team, and I thought of like you guys all, and we're so drama free. there's never drama here. We're all in it for our own goals, for our own business, creating our whys of why we want this for our family, our friend, or like our lives, and how we can take this and to know that it's so unique and then offer it to someone else and help better their lives. And I just sat back and I thought, wow, like, I'm not going to say there's no Plexus teams with no drama and everybody gets along all the time. They don't. We're people, we're human. It's relationships, right? There's feelings and there's, people hurt people. That all still happens. But the general current underneath is Plexus bonds their people together. And I just came away with a great appreciation for that. So that was one of my big ones. And then I'm going to go into some of the questions of what were asked of the Diamonds and how they answered them, because I think some of the answers were just so, they were not hard answers, but they were so spot on. So a couple of the things were time management, mom guilt, personal development. What do you do when you have level ones that are not actively leading their teams, or there's leaders in between that are not helping their downlines? Let's see what else. Tips on developing leaders. And then we had Vanessa Van Edwards, and that was a full day. I still am like processing of all the things that she taught. We started at 9 in the morning and we went until 4 in the afternoon. If you don't have the book Captivate, or if you have not seen her on YouTube yet, go watch her short clips. Subscribe to her email. She'll send you short little videos. It's incredible of what you can learn from facial expressions, people skills, priming people to have a positive connection, that you're not just, putting up walls and blocking people. I'm going to get to that yet. Okay, so questions on time management. And the question was mostly, how do you best manage your time to build your business and still remain balanced in life, right? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Charlotte. She's a mom of 12. She's a pastor's wife. She's probably of the oldest Diamonds in our team. She is close to 60. And she said, you know what? I really, really personally respect Charlotte, because she seems to be the grandma of the group. She's always giving calm reassurance. She's always just that stable, very strong person. And her life hasn't been easy. Like, I have great respect for this woman. And she said, you know what? Time management is really just life management. You'll learn as you go. And I was like, good. I guess I'm learning. Because that's what it is, right? You learn to manage of what you have, and you want the best of what you have in your life. And then Amber talked about Amber said it's all your mindset. So we have the opposite end of the spectrum for Amber. Amber is a young mom, 3 toddlers, a brand new baby. She had her baby along. He's 2 months old. And she has struggled big time with personal development, coming to the place of knowing that she's a good leader. She leads a big team and she leads it well. And she has done huge amounts of personal growth and being a very strong leader. So she said, basically, it's all your mindset. She said, I never think of myself as busy, because the more that you say it, the more you affirm it to yourself. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so busy. I have so many things to do. The more busy you feel like you are. She said, I have a lot going on. My cup is full. But she never told herself that she was busy. So she said, basically what she did was take your top priorities for your household and your top priorities for your business, and then sit down and write down of what your perfect day would look like. What does your perfect day look like if you're doing what you need to do in your household, doing what you need to do in your business to keep it growing, to be growing, right? And she said, write down that perfect day, and then from there, take and work towards that. Each day, mark off what you did for your perfect day. It doesn't need to be perfect. It can look different for everyone, but make sure that you're working towards that. She had just recently found her 2014 and 2015 perfect day write-outs that she had written down on pieces of paper. And she said it was incredible to see that she had achieved most of those things, because in the morning when she got up, she was like making her bed, listening to a devotional, priming her brain, starting her day off right, filling her cup. And then she would go and help her kids get breakfast. And she said, during that time, my phone is down. It's facing down. I don't want to see it flashing. The sound is off. Even if my mom calls, even if my husband calls, right then I am giving my kids myself. She was pouring into her kids, giving them breakfast, doing her homeschooling. And then she said, okay, now I'm working. And the kids were filled. They ran off and played because they knew mom was there. And she started her day. So that was really good to see, like, the older spectrum and the younger spectrum of both ends, to see how, because Charlotte has, many married children, still homeschooled, 4 teenage daughters. She's super busy, responsibilities in her church. And she says, time management is life management. And then another tip that Amber had was look ahead, pre-plan. Look what's coming. If your team is doing challenges, if your team has something going, make sure you know of it ahead. If there's events going, invite your people right away. Get them in. Don't wait until it's here. I didn't know what's going on. Plan ahead and know what's coming. Then you won't feel like you're always behind. So the next question was a big one, because this is like a room full of, there was 90 some moms in there. I think pretty much all of them were moms. And I think when the topic of mom guilt comes up, it's a big one. And I think there's a lot of false guilt that is often that we take upon ourselves that we probably wouldn't need to. But children feed off of that. They know that when we're feeling guilty that they will press more out of you, right? And the big question was how do you manage your time with your children and still building a business? And some of these moms are still working on the side of that yet, right? And I loved what Wendy said. Wendy said, model to your children what hard work looks like. They will follow. And that's exactly for your team. No mom guilt. And for those of you that know who Wendy Larson is, she's a wonderful leader. She's 3 kids. She homeschools. They live on a little farm. She's a hard worker. She'll get things done. She said, I never go there. I have no mom guilt. I demonstrate to my children what hard work looks like, and they love it. And she said, anytime your children have issues or they feel like they're draining you, go make them stack some wood. It's funny because they obviously heat wood. And she said, well, her boys had to stack wood when they got like that. So, and then Brenda, mom of 11, also homeschools, 2 diamond teams. This lady is incredible. And she said, you know what? You need to make your why your family's why. When your children know why mom is working hard and it's also their goal, they will embrace it and work with you. Make it a team goal. Make it that's something that you're working together towards achieving together. Your children are your team players. They can come alongside you and help. And anyone that knows Brenda knows that this is something that they do very well, because with a large family like that, so 11 children, they all live at home still. They live in a 1,000 square foot house, and they're building a 17,000 square foot barn house that they're remodeling, right? Huge project. But anyone knows laundry, food, stuff like that in a family of 11, it's pretty big. And she's a huge example of, she says, take your children alongside, make sure they know what your why is, make sure they know what the outcome of the why is and how that's going to affect them as well, how that's going to make a positive impact on their life when working hard together gets you there. So I really like that. And then James Easling, James and Shoshana used to be the owners of the Bulk Herb Store. He was up on the diamond panel. James is a diamond. For those of you that know his story, he signed up because he thought Shoshana was dying of Lyme's and she was very, very unhealthy. He was running their Bulk Herb Store and started building a Plexus business on the side. Just a calm, strong guy. They're young. They have 3 little kids. I really appreciated what he said. he said, your kids grow up really fast. Don't get stuck here. You know, they can grow up with you being busy and you building towards something positive and them seeing you achieve it, or they can grow up with you holding back and waiting for them to grow up. And their oldest is 11, I think. And he said, your kids grow really fast. Make sure you do it now, right? What else and then he talked a little bit about Plexus, Alec and Tarl, and how we have such incredible support. They are also on the product advisory board, so he has very close contact with Alec and Tarl. And he said, when you understand of the amount of dedication and devotion that Alec and Tarl put into the company, and if we realized how often Tarl would be asking, is there any ways that I can pay my ambassadors more? He was always wanting better for his ambassadors because they were bringing so much back to him. And he talked about customer service, the amount of investment that the company was working to making customer service be such a valuable asset to us. I mean, like even now, customer service is so amazing of what we have. I can't imagine people not treating them well, but I guess that does happen. And he said, be patient. They're always training new people. They're always bringing in new people. And the way that we treat customer service will trickle down to our team as well. If we treat that as a positive experience, our team will be doing the same thing. Where am I going with my next question? Personal development. So Fallon Black was up on the stage, and she is a diamond. She started Plexus also in 2014, made it to senior gold and stayed there for 2 years. And she did some really serious personal growth and self-development and went to diamond in 14 months, from senior gold to diamond in 14 months. That's a lot of work. That's not work as an elbow grease work, but it's work in here with your mindset. And she had some really, really good points. She has a large team of very, very positive leaders that are incredible together. They're very powerful together. So the question that was asked for Fallon was, when you came to the crossroads where you knew personal development was needed, what were the top 3 things that you felt were missing of what she was learning? And she always talks about how she sat down and just started watching videos, started watching training videos, and just read every book that she could get her hands on. And if the book didn't make sense, she read it again until it started making sense to her. And why am I not growing? Why am I not getting anywhere? The biggest thing she said was, don't quit. Don't ever quit. Do not slow down. Don't stop. Don't get in a funk. It doesn't matter what color personality you are. Keep going. And it was interesting to hear because I remember her being there. I wasn't working at the time, but I remember her being there. And she said, be bold, be confident. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't slow down. The speed of the leader is the speed of the pack, right? That's a big thing that we often hear. And then she talked about building belief in your teams. Like we'll often get back feedback from our teams that, well, I'm not sure if I can do that, or if that's me, or yeah, I'm talking to people, but they're not answering, or build belief in your team members. They can do it. Every person can do self-development and grow. We need to carry that belief for them, and then they need to build belief in themselves. And she said, believe in yourself. You have to be bossy. Don't let people just quit. If you quit now, you'll never get past this. Right? You can't, if you quit now, you won't get past this. And then another thing that she said, people don't quit when they know that you have also struggled. Mindset and belief, and be hungry, right? And she said, personal development is such a huge thing that it's not only going to help you grow in yourself, but it'll help you grow in all areas of life. It'll be better for your relationship with your kids. It'll be better for relationships with other people, your marriage. Like every aspect of life benefits when we grow ourselves. So I really liked of what she was sharing about that. Lori also shared on that. She said, be persistent, have belief, be dedicated. I'm not checking the chat. Oh, I like that, Melinda. Melinda said, I like the quote I just heard recently, is we are in business for ourselves, but never by ourselves. Yes, I remember hearing that as well. So Lori Welch shared a little bit on personal development as well. And she said, be persistent, have belief, be dedicated, and then make recruiting your primary objective. First and foremost, run with your runners, have belief for everyone on your team, help them through their personal growth issues, and then run past them. Because if we've been through it, then we can look back and say, hey, I was where you were, let me help you through that. These are some things that I worked on that made a big difference. Can I help you do that too, right? And then she said, run past them and help them through it. You are not responsible for their growth. They are. That's something that we can't do for other people, is do their personal growth. They have to do their own personal growth and development. That's something that you have to want to do, right? And then be honest about it and do it in truth and love. Amber said to embrace the struggle. When you're struggling, and when you're feeling the stress, that's when you're growing. Everybody wants to like push away those uncomfortable, I don't want to do this is hard, this is not fun. Everybody said this would be fun, you know. That's when you're growing. Be aware of that and then analyze of what you're doing and where you're working towards, that you know this is for a purpose, where you're going, right? Okay. The downline question. The question was for all diamonds. When you have a level 1 who is not actively leading their team, what do you do and how much time do you invest in them? And even if there's other levels in between that are not leading. Wendy answered that. Let me see where Wendy's answer is. I took so many notes on my phone that I'm just like, I need to make sure that I keep them because I want them in my brain. I want to see where they are and go back to them. Wendy's answer is basic, and she's really, really good with teaching leadership development. She said, anyone, this was pertaining to the rubies and senior rubies, so anything under that pertains to that as well. Anyone, ruby and senior ruby, should be friends with their whole teams. Everyone. That you're always reaching down and connecting as new people are coming in. And if you have someone dropping in or dropping out in between, say you sponsored a level 1, that person is no longer active, no longer responding, all of a sudden they have a level 2 that is getting started, wants help. You always reach down and make sure that you're helping them. Doesn't matter who's in between, doesn't matter, you know, if the in between levels are working or not. She said, you filter where your top enrollers are and look at that as your top 20% of your people, and then you work 80% of your time with your top 20% of your people, because that's what's going to be your biggest runners, and they are going to be needing your help the most. So I really liked what she said about that, because even if we don't know the people that are coming in, like even if I look at some of you guys, I didn't know some of you guys at all, but that doesn't really matter. It's okay, right? We still all link arms and work together because that's what we have as a Plexus community. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit into the last question that I had here today. And then I'm going to share a little bit on Vanessa Van Edwards. Tips on developing leaders. This is very much a Kristen question, because Kristen is super good at leadership development. The question was, when they need self-development and don't recognize it. These are the leaders who say they want it, they have support and resources, but they don't prioritize and love to say, I'm stuck. These are leaders who have downlines who are hungry and wanting it. So multiple of the diamonds all answered that question. And it was interesting to see how differently they answered it, so that coming from different perspectives, it was still very informative. Brenda said, where's my Brenda answer? Brenda basically said, envision it for others. She said, you have to see what it could do for them. Be there for them, right? You have to look at how you can take this, share it with them, envision it for them, and have them see what you're seeing, what could be their possibility. So, and she said, try to identify 3 areas in your life where you're giving excuses. What will it take for me to make my goal? No excuses for not looking at your numbers. A lot of the things are like, oh, my back office numbers drive me nuts. I don't know what to look for, or I don't know where to go. She said, learn your numbers and then go and do it, because there's always uplines that are going to be there for you and helping you to teach those numbers. Or the other excuse was, I can't afford it, things like that. And she said, make a plan, invest back into your team. Another thing that I found interesting of what Brenda said is, every paycheck you should be setting some aside to reinvest into your team, to giving back. That shows them that you're also invested in their growth and you're helping them to grow, right? That was interesting. She said, write down your 3 excuses. And then the first area of improvement is self-awareness. You have to be aware of where you need to grow, right? Like they say, first step is acknowledging that you have something to do. Charlotte went back to mindset. She said, always stay teachable, stay coachable, be yourself. You work on your strengths. Don't try to be someone else. Don't try to copy to be someone else. You be you, because people are seeing when you're being genuine, when you're being you. And don't feel like you have to do all the things. And then she said, we get caught up in being me. It is about who is not going to hear about Plexus, because I'm not getting over myself. It's not about me. It's about how you're going to be sharing it with other people, right? Because if you're not sharing, then you're getting stuck on who you are and what you can't do instead of what you could be doing. It doesn't matter if you're not doing it perfect. She said to get over yourself, you be you, and then move on, right? Kristen, this is always one of her big areas, because she started and basically said, what do I do? And Lori said, go find people that are better than you. Go sponsor influential people, right? And that's her big key thing is, she says, get everyone on the product. That's number 1. They work for the masses, and then sign up influencers. All walks of life, envision the influence that they have in their world, right? And you also need to tell people that they are good influencers. Sometimes we don't know, we don't even recognize the power that we have in our own communities, in our own friend circles, wherever we frequent, right? We just see ourselves as ourselves, and we don't see ourselves as an influential person. Other people see that better than what we ourselves do. We need to tell them that. We need to be like open and honest about that, because that's something that they have. And then make sure that you're not dragging people. Kristen is they don't have to. This is very much a volunteer army. No one has to do this. It's okay. They need to want to, and you need to go find those people that want it, right? That's very much her big thing. She's very much take it or leave it. And then believe it when people show you who they are. To see their strengths, not their weaknesses. Notice the strong points and capitalize on that. So I really liked Kristen's points on that. And then she said, see everyone as an influencer. If they're not, they're holding themselves back in their own mind. So they need to be working on mindset. And I was just listening again to Secret Code of Success on the way home today, Noah St. John, about affirmations. That's a really good book. Really good book. Okay. Little bit on Vanessa Van Edwards. She started the day off in the morning about charisma, people having charisma. What is charisma? And it's basically how we are attracted to other people, right? It's charisma is something, it's almost like a vibe that you give off. And she had a scale of the warmth on one end and the competence on the other end. I shared a couple pictures and a couple of clips of when we were in it. And the warm person was more, this is a lot about people skills, about body language, about verbal skills, a lot of people reading. It's really hard to explain. She did a super good job of teaching it, but I really encourage you to go watch some of her videos because there's little tips in there that just make all the difference. It was interesting when we were done. So the warmth end of the spectrum, the warm people would be more like head tilting, leaning forward, facing people with their front and talking. I talk with my hands, talking with their hands. And then the competent people would be more like the power posing. She calls it no self-soothing, which is like you wouldn't be like rubbing your arms when you were standing or like fiddling with your hair or something, like very much self-soothing. And they would have like a strong voice and a strong gaze. Like eye contact would be strong for those people. That was really interesting. She also shared on facial expressions. So if you get a chance to look that up, super good demonstrations of facial expressions and how to read people and what the expressions mean according to the lines on your face, according to how your facial features move. Really interesting because we were all laughing by the end of the day of how this is contempt. Kind of tilting your mouth to the side, you know, contempt. So let's say you're talking to someone and all of a sudden you'll get a flash of, you know, they're like probably not believing or might be a little bit of skeptic of what you're sharing with them, right? Another one was flashing the whites of their eyes a little bit, like that's a sign of fear. Just the eyelids kind of go up and the whites of the eyes kind of come out. That's fear. And they're like, whoa, what does this lady want, right? And then she taught on how to prime people to bring in the conversation comfortably, that they're feeling good about what you're sharing, that you make them feel good. The saying came to mind of people never know how much you care until what's the saying? No one knows, no one cares how much, come on guys, help me out.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. The facial expressions will help you read that, right? And it helps you bring in the answers that are comforting and assuring to people during conversation. Interesting she shared on how different emotions were shared in the body and what the body responds to. Like emotions is a huge thing of how your response will be. She had different pictures of how anger is stored in your body, how love is stored in your body, how your emotions reflect differently. And then micro positives and micro negatives, like just very cues that you will see coming from people that show interest or curiosity. You want to see those cues and know what they are. You will also want to see the negative cues as well. The ones that show boredom, disinterested, nervousness, or dislike. Like it's really simple, and it only takes a little bit of practice, but it just takes being aware of it. Interesting how, like, even when you're walking in an airport, yesterday, all of us were flying back, right? Come here. And when you meet people or you see people in line and you're starting to read expressions, disgust is basically, like, people will just basically wrinkle up their nose and show a bit of their front teeth. I was standing in the line at the Booster Juice grabbing a drink before we were leaving Toronto, and it was really, really busy. The airport was super full, and there was one girl at the till and two girls making the smoothies, and they were like just cranking it out. They were busy. There was a lineup, probably about 50 people. So by the time I got to the front of the lineup, I had seen these girls like just running. They were just working, and they were busy, and people were not very kind. very interesting to see, right? And you saw expressions. I saw a lot of disgust and a lot of contempt. So when I got to the front, I just waited for them to make my smoothie. And I said to the girls, you guys are doing an amazing job. I can't imagine how busy you must have been already, because they had just been running. How long has it been busy like this? And the girl said, right since I came on shift at 2:00. This was like 5, right? That's hard when you're facing people that are like rah, 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 all the time. So it's interesting of what I saw in the lineup there. I was reading faces. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. Any questions? Feel free to unmute and just. Oh, I feel like I've been preaching.
Marge, that video on the facial expressions, is that on YouTube?
She has a whole bunch. I think you can actually even go on her website and subscribe to her emails. And then she sends YouTube clips and stuff on different aspects. But yeah, the facial expression one is really interesting. Really interesting. And just like, there was different ones. There was fear, sadness, contempt, disgust, a genuine smile, like happiness, a fake smile. There's probably about 10 different ones that she taught on, like even the lines of your face, how they move up. And it was interesting to see when you saw other people doing it, the lines on the faces were always the same. Really weird.
I've watched her lots on YouTube. Sandra, you will love her. I've been treadmilling and I'm watching. I think I've watched majority of hers.
Have you seen the facial expressions? Does she have one?
I think so, because I'm not quite sure, because everything sounds so familiar to me. So I'm wondering if I think I have. But I'm getting emails from her as well, right? So there's always links on there. So I might have seen it there. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and look up some of the things, because it'll be easier to see now.
I've watched her her video on RBF face. I think you sent it to me, Mom. I love how it explains like why you look like you're just mad, because it's just how your eyes are tilted or how your mouth is natural. It's like it's not that, it's all just the lines in your face, right? It's really cool.
So she actually, like someone actually asked that question. And for those of you, RBF is a term of resting angry face. She just called it resting angry face, where you naturally are serious and your mouth is a little bit more downturned. Your eyes are a little bit more downturned. So it looks like you're angry when you're just your natural expression, right? Some people naturally have a smiling expression. They never look angry. Sheila has often been accused of being angry, and she says, I'm not, I'm just concentrating or thinking about something, right? And a lot of women had this question: what do I do when people say I'm intimidating, I'm not approachable because you look angry or you look mad or something, right? And she said there's several things that you can look for. Several things that she did was purposefully make herself smile when she was out and about with people, and purposefully put her eyeliner up a little bit higher to bring up her eyes a little bit. To make it more like make her eyes look a little bit more open, because she said her eyes turn down, and a lot of people's eyes naturally do that, right? And it brings
mine did too.
Brings down the whole line of your face. And then if your mouth goes down instead of naturally up, you look almost angry, right?
That's on YouTube as well, guys.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. I know, like I apparently have it really bad, especially when I'm driving. I look so mad, but I'm just serious, not smiling. So
I have that too. I look grumpy, but I have purposed myself for probably 2 or 3 years already, where I would just put that slight smile on my face, and automatically my eyes kind of go up with it as well. And I had a man in church actually come to me, and he asked me, he said, are you always smiling? Like, I always see you smile. And I said, I make myself smile because I look grumpy. Naturally. So yeah, it was just nice to have someone actually notice that, hey, you look like you're always smiling.
That's awesome. Do you know how long it takes for someone to create a first impression of you? Like when you first lay eyes on someone, do you know how long it takes for you to make a first impression?
I would say like 2 seconds.
5 seconds.
0.05 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
Like that.
Yeah.
And she said, this is where people, get on Zooms and they're like, and working away, and people are popping on and you're just, in your RBF face. She said, don't do that. Get on Zoom and smile. See your people. It's funny because that's what some women were asking, right? Like, what is the first impression? What is it worth? How much time do you have to create a first impression? Say you're walking into an event or doing an event. You're standing up front, people are coming in. Make sure that you're acknowledging people, that you're smiling, that you're giving off the vibe that you're approachable, right? Because you have that one chance. That was way shorter than what I expected. I would have said like 5 seconds or something like that too. I was surprised by that. We don't have a whole lot of time. Speaking about events, I'm super excited to be doing Canadian events soon. The doors will be open. Freedom! So keep your thoughts on that. Excited for that. And if you guys have no more questions, I'm gonna sign off for tonight, and unless anyone has something else.
Thank you for your time, Marge.
Thank you all for coming. That was awesome.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
You.
Good night.